Welcome back to Daily AI News at Let's Data Science. It's 2026-0409. Today, we're diving into some pivotal developments from the future of machine intelligence to major product launches. Let's get to it. We start with a major capital commitment that reframes the AI for biology narrative. The OpenAI Foundation has finalized more than $100 million in grants this month to 6 research institutions as part of a broader pledge of at least $1 billion focused on curing diseases, expanding public health data, and strengthening AI resilience. The flagship effort is branded AI for Alzheimer's. According to the OpenAI Foundation and reporting from Gizmodo, the program is structured around 3 concrete pillars: building an AI driven causal map of Alzheimer's disease to validate intervention targets, designing and testing new drugs using AI assisted workflows, and publishing open data sets to model drug activity and disease progression. Technically, this is important because it shifts the conversation away from vague claims that AI will cure all diseases and toward hybrid pipelines. The Foundation explicitly emphasizes combining machine learning methods such as causal inference, multi-omics representation learning, generative chemistry, and predictive disease progression modeling with wet lab validation and clinical cohorts. In other words, AI is being positioned as a hypothesis accelerator, not a magic replacement for domain experts. For practitioners in computational biology and ML, the funding mechanism is the real signal. Targeted grants at this scale can underwrite standardized benchmarks, curated multimodal datasets, compute for biomolecular modeling, and lab automation throughput. Whether those outputs are open or proprietary will determine the downstream impact on the broader research ecosystem. Watch closely which 6 institutions receive the grants, what data sharing terms are attached, and whether negative results and reproducible benchmarks are published. That governance detail will define whether this becomes a shared scientific asset or a closed pipeline. From philanthropy to private markets, Anthropic has reportedly completed an employee tender offer at a roughly $350 billion valuation, while simultaneously signing a term sheet for a $10 billion funding round at the same valuation. CNBC confirms the financing term sheet is led by Coatue and Singapore's sovereign wealth fund, GIC. The tender was designed to provide liquidity to employees ahead of an eventual IPO, but reports indicate investor appetite for secondary shares was in the $5 to $6 billion range, potentially exceeding the size of the executed liquidity program. Anthropic, founded in 2021 and known for the Claude family of models, is effectively balancing 2 objectives: securing large-scale primary capital while offering partial liquidity to retain talent. For practitioners, this matters because valuation anchors shape the entire competitive landscape. A $350 billion private valuation increases bargaining leverage with cloud providers and chip partners, affects compensation expectations across the generative AI sector, and signals substantial runway for compute-intensive model development. At the same time, if employee liquidity remains constrained relative to expectations, retention dynamics could shift. Keep an eye on final allocations in the $10 billion round, board composition changes, and any formal IPO timeline disclosures. Capital structure is also in focus at SoftBank Corp, which is preparing its first euro-denominated bond offering. The planned issuance includes benchmark-sized, fixed-rate senior unsecured tranches with 6 and 10-year maturities. JP Morgan Chase, BNP Paribas, Citigroup, and Mizuho are organizing investor calls across Asia and Europe. This move is linked to parent SoftBank Group's broader AI push, including exploration of up to $40 billion in loan market funding to help finance expanded investment in OpenAI. Rating agencies are watching closely. Fitch has indicated the proposed euro notes would likely be rated BBB+, while S&P Global Ratings has shifted SoftBank Group's outlook to negative, citing increased leverage and AI-related exposure. For AI practitioners, this is not abstract finance. Large-scale debt issuance to fund stakes in companies like OpenAI alters the capital available across the ecosystem and increases balance sheet sensitivity to AI valuations. If borrowing costs rise due to rating pressure, that could influence the pace and scale of future AI investments. Watch pricing and demand for these euro bonds as a real-time barometer of investor appetite for AI-linked credit risk. On the infrastructure front, an engineering sample of NVIDIA's upcoming N1 ARM-based system-on-chip has surfaced on an online listing. The motherboard reportedly hosts 8 SK Hynix H58G78CK8B LPDDR5X modules running at 855 and 33 megatransfers per second, totaling 128 gigabytes of memory. The board also features an 8 plus 6 plus 2-phase VRM, two M.2 2240 slots, integrated Wi-Fi, and laptop-oriented I/O, including USB-C and HDMI. The N1 and its sibling N1X are widely reported to derive from NVIDIA's GB10 superchip lineage, pairing an ARM CPU cluster developed in collaboration with MediaTek with a Blackwell-class integrated GPU. Jensen Huang has publicly emphasized efficiency and Windows on ARM positioning, with Copilot Plus support expected. OEM launches from Dell and Lenovo are anticipated later this year. The standout detail here is the 128 gigabytes of LPDDR5X on a laptop-oriented SoC. That signals a design optimized for large in-device working sets, potentially enabling heavier local AI inference workloads. For developers, the questions are practical: driver maturity on Windows on ARM, CUDA and compiler support on ARM, sustained thermal limits, and memory bandwidth constraints for the integrated GPU. Expect these to be central topics at upcoming events like GTC and Computex. Now for a few other key updates in our lightning round. Sam Altman has warned of a potentially world-shaking cyber attack within the year, attributing the elevated risk to rapid AI advancements that could enable more potent offensive capabilities. He has urged urgent coordination and stronger cybersecurity measures to mitigate systemic threats. For security teams deploying advanced models, this reinforces the need for red teaming, secure model deployment pipelines, and monitoring for misuse scenarios. X41 DSEC GmbH has issued advisory X41-2026001, describing a high-severity guardrail sandbox escape vulnerability in Light LM. The flaw could allow bypass of Light LLM's guardrail protections. Teams using Light LLM in production should review the advisory on OS-Sec, confirm affected versions, and apply patches or mitigations immediately. LG AI Research has unveiled Ixion 4.5, a multimodal model designed to understand and reason across both text and images. According to coverage in the Korea Times and Chosun, Ixion 4.5 integrates LG's self-developed vision encoder with a large language model and has been opened on Hugging Face for research and education. While claims of outperforming global rivals require independent validation, the release signals intensified competition in the vision language model space. Alibaba is centralizing its AI strategy around Chanyu and a newly created Alibaba Token Hub, or AT8. Under CEO Eddie Wu, Chanyu is evolving into an agentic AI platform focused on merchant tools, while AT8 will lead commercialization. The reorganization splits smart search and recommendation into platform users and products and algorithms teams, and shifts metrics from user penetration to merchant retention and AI-driven gross merchandise value. For teams building marketplace AI, this is a live case study in moving from incremental feature improvements to platform-level agentic systems tied directly to revenue attribution. Finally, Demis Hassabis says Google DeepMind has accelerated progress by operating more like a startup over the past 2 to 3 years. By consolidating efforts with Google Brain and aligning closely with product initiatives like Gemini, DeepMind is emphasizing smaller teams, faster iteration, and tighter integration with Google's broader AI stack. For practitioners, expect shorter cycles from research to deployable systems and increased competitive pressure across foundational model releases. And that's your AI briefing for today. The landscape is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here to track it with you. For more insights, visit us at letsdatascience.com. Thanks for tuning in, stay curious, and we'll be back tomorrow with the latest in AI.